As I creep towards my 30s, I've just recently had a birthday, and the one thing that I wanted was to have dinner at my nan's place. She cooked us up an amazing pork roast, and we wanted apple crumble for dessert. Now, this one is a little bit quicker. It's a bit of a cheats apple crumble, but I still reckon it's nailing the flavor. My nan, she's a traditionalist. She makes the pastry from scratch, a beautiful buttery champagne pastry. I, on the other hand, cut a few corners, but I still think I get the results. So we're gonna go with about 75 grams of butter, cut this up into a couple of discs, throw it in, brown sugar. We're gonna go in with about 75 grams, some desiccated coconut, a little bit of Chinese 5-spice. Now, the cinnamon and the cloves in the 5-spice work really well with apples. They're a classic combination. And the oats, of course. So I've got about 75 grams and about 50 grams of plain flour. So that's just gonna fit. And now I'm just gonna pulse that. So I don't want it to be too fine. Bit by bit, just gonna give it a rough blitz and get it to that consistency that I'm after. All right, how's that looking? That's looking good. That's a really good consistency. You don't want it to be too oily, too greasy, otherwise it will kind of split out of the mix. This is suggesting we've got enough flour in there, enough coconut, enough of the oats to hold it all together. Just gonna pop that off and tip it straight on. All right, so there's the first element sorted. Just gonna give that a rough scatter. Now, that'll go into the oven. We'll start to bake that, get it a little bit biscuity, and we'll check it every 5 minutes or so, give it a rotation, check that the color's nice and even, and then I'll get cracking on the caramel. Okay, crumble's in, grab a pan, and I'm gonna throw this on a medium to high heat. And basically what we're doing, we're making a caramel straight in with the sugar. So we've got 50 grams of caster sugar, and we'll just give that a bit of a shake. Get a nice even spread over the base of that pan, and we'll just see that start to gently melt and caramelize around the edges. Now, I've been avoiding this. I'm gonna have to start peeling these apples. So, got 5 apples here. I'm just gonna peel them, core them, and then if I get the timing right, caramel will be ready, apples go in, butter goes in, crumble over the top. So, apples are done. Now I need to it's called breaking the caramel, so we want to stop it from going any further. I'm going to go in with approximately another 50 grams of butter, and we want to break it. So we're just going to emulsify that through the caramel, and you can see, yeah, really, really nice, beautiful amber color. It's almost going to give us that butterscotchy kind of flavor to it. And that's about where you want it to be. You don't want to go too much darker. You go too dark, it gets a little bit too bitter. You can always balance it out though with a little bit of salt to rein in that bitterness. All right. I'm just gonna let that butter continue to melt. Now I'll just take the core out of these apples. All you gotta do is half, quarter, and then just on an angle, and just take it out with a knife. So half, quarter on the angle. Now, all this stuff, don't waste it. Put it in a little bag, throw it in the freezer, keep it in the fridge. Juices, smoothies, anything like that. Any offcuts that I have, always go through a juicer. It's one of the easiest ways to use it up, whether it's apple, carrot, ginger. All right, so we just want to spread them out. And what's going to happen, so we'll throw a lid over the top of these. The apples will continue to steam and cook and break down. And then we'll throw the crumble over the top. And then we'll finish it actually under the grill. So crumble goes over the top, into the grill, toast that crumble off a little bit more, and serve it in the pan. All right, so apples have been steaming away for about 10 minutes now. They've still got texture. That's why I like to keep them in nice big chunks so they don't cook down and they're not, mush essentially. You want them to still hold their shape, have texture, something to bite into. Crumble mix is done. Really, really nice and biscuity. Just gonna throw this over the top, and I've set the oven to grill. So that's just gonna give us that final little toast, that final little char. I like to take it a little bit further, get a couple of burnt bits around the edges. So just spread that as it is, back in the oven. All right, there we go. You can see that's just started to toast up a little bit more around the edges, and on the high points, it's started to catch and char up a little bit. Now, this is how I like to roll. Grab a big spoon, grab your bowl, cut out your section, portion yourself up. Now, as far as I'm concerned, there's only 3 ways to finish an apple crumble: cream, custard, or ice cream. And when I'm at my nan, she will say, "Love, do you want all 3?"